Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for checking out another video. Today I'm really excited. We're going to be installing a new front bumper on the car. I remember showing you guys in another video, but I'm going to refresh your memory. I hit a curb really bad and cracked my carbon fiber lip and damaged my bumper pretty bad. So I put a hole in it right there and it's cracked and it comes up and you can see all these scrapes really bad. They were worse before I put paint touch up on them, but I did touch these up. They look a little bit better, but since I've been down here in Florida, I wasn't so cautious at first on the highway and got a crap ton of stone chips all over my freaking bumper. So the front mount intercooler, I think the way I did this is pretty clean, but I do have some gripes with it. This was actually a piece of plexiglass that I put Raptor liner on and then drilled holes through it and connected it to the bumper, because when you cut out your bumper for an intercooler, there's like a big V right here where the grill goes. This was a nice easy way to cover that up. And then the sides, I used some ABS plastic, roughly cut it to fit. You can see it's a little wavy. It doesn't look that great. So I put that in to cover up the sides. But it just looks weird missing that whole center piece of plastic out of the middle of the bumper. That's been really bugging me. And then I went a little bit too far over here and cut into this, and that's been bugging me. Another thing, I don't know if it's the bumper, but one of the tabs over here is broken and it's just not go on right. All this right here is touched up. This is all really badly chipped paint that's been touched up, and that came from my S209 flares, as well as some of this warpage right here. There's a lot of warpage right in here on both sides of the bumper. Those flares really messed up a lot of stuff, and the bumper was one of the things that messed up. Right up here you can see a piece of paint missing. Right here you can see a big piece of paint missing. So yeah, the front bumper of this car has really been bugging me, and as some of you guys might agree with, when something on your car is bugging you and you see it every day and it just keeps bugging you more and more and more, you start to dislike the car. Rather than add more and more mods to it and just keep adding to the problem or ignoring problems, I'm trying to fix the issues that I have with it before I continue on my mod path. So this front bumper's just gotta go. For anyone that has followed me long enough, you guys all know that I was a body guy and a paint guy. For the last 10 years of my life, I painted cars for a living. I repaired and painted cars. I'd fix bumpers, quarter panels, fenders, doors, whatever, you name it. I'd paint whole cars. I did everything. And when I moved down here to Florida to take up my job at Import Image Racing, I left all that behind. I sold all of my equipment. I sold everything that I owned to do body work and paint work. I thought about repairing my bumper myself. It wouldn't be that difficult. I still have that skill there, but I don't have any of the supplies. And buying all the supplies and finding a place to do it, and then when I painted outside, most likely, I would end up with dirt nibs in the paint. I'd have to wet sand it and buff it. So I'd have to go buy a sander. I'd have to go buy a buffer. I'd have to go buy primer. I'd have to go buy paint. I'd have to buy a paint gun. You see how this gets really intricate. Something that maybe isn't as publicly known about me is that I have trust issues. I don't trust other people with my car. I just don't like it. Like, even when my friends offer to help work on my car, I'm never gonna turn it down, but you know, working on something else, and they're like, oh, I'll help, and they're like trying to do something, and I'm like, please don't screw that up. I know my paint work, I know my body work, and I'm very picky about it. I've never had anything ever. No one has ever painted anything for me. Never taken anything to anybody to have it painted. You might want to check out my Eclipse videos if you're into any of that stuff. I did a lot of work to a second gen Eclipse, completely restored it from a frame to a full running car. Did a lot of body work and paint work on that thing, and that was fun. I didn't really know what to do. I was in this predicament, and I was like, I gotta have somebody do this for me. I'm gonna have to take my bumper off, take it somewhere and have them paint it, and hopefully it's right. And I was like, you know what, rather than do that, maybe I'll start looking for a replacement bumper. So I started off by looking for used bumpers, and I couldn't find a used bumper anywhere. I was about to give up. And then I found this website called Painted OEM Parts. Factory OEM only, they don't use aftermarket stuff. They buy that part, they paint it to match your car, and they ship it out to you. I'll leave a link in the description to their website. They're awesome guys. They do really great work. I dealt with Sean, and he was absolutely awesome to deal with. The bumper showed up today in a giant OEM Subaru parts box. I'm gonna take you guys in. We're gonna check out this new bumper. We're gonna get it on the car because this car desperately needs a new front bumper. So the guys over at Painted OEM Parts are actually gonna offer a discount for you guys as well. So if you like what you see in the video and you have a 15 to 17 WRX and maybe you wanna do a front bumper conversion, or maybe you're just have a damaged bumper and you wanna change it up, they're gonna offer you guys a discount code by going on their website and typing in Street Inspired in the promo code. They are going to offer you a $25 off coupon. They do more than bumpers as well. They do all kinds of parts. So if you have an OEM part that you need and you need a paint match one, they're gonna supply it for you. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna shoot inside, rip this freaking bumper off the car, and get the new one thrown on. This is the box that came in. It's a massive freaking box. You could fit 2 or 3 adult-sized people in this freaking box. It's huge. I sent them out my tow hook cover, and they paint matched my whole bumper based off that tow hook. If you know anything about painting, you know paint is definitely hard to match, and having such a small panel like a tow hook cover, it's really difficult to match the paint. For example, I don't know if you guys remember or not, but I did my custom molded duckbill in the car. It's a little bit difficult to notice, but inside here you can notice that it is just a little bit darker than my OEM paint. And that's because, well, you can only go so far with it. You can use OEM paint codes and hope that you get a close match, but sometimes it doesn't always work out that way, so it's a little bit darker. Now, I learned my lesson, and the second time that I painted something for the car, I changed the paint coat a little bit. I spent a little bit of time adjusting the toners and got a much closer color and double checked it before I sprayed it, and it came out a lot better. So when I painted my trunk off my 15 WRX with the STI wing to put onto this car, I got a much better paint match. This one was like almost perfect. It takes a lot of experience to get a good paint match on something. Essentially what they do is they wrap this whole thing up in bubble wrap. They put some baby powder on it to keep it from damaging, because fresh paint, you put bubble wrap on it, it could stick and damage the paint. So they went ahead, put baby powder on the entire thing so that this wrap does not stick to the paint. So I'm going to open this thing up and get a first look at it. Very carefully cut this bubble wrap off. I'm going to be really picky. I want this to look perfect, so hopefully it is. It's got a really high quality finish, at least from what I can see so far. Now, I got baby powder all over me, and there's baby powder all over this bumper. I guess I'll hit it with some quick detail, and I'll wipe it down just a little bit. Something to note, if you guys do go through and do this for your own vehicle for any reason, my entire car is ceramic coated, but you do not want to ceramic coat fresh paint. This bumper is probably going to have to sit on the car for probably 30 days before it'll be okay to ceramic coat it. Just be very mindful of that. You also don't want to wax it for maybe like 30 days. Always better safe than sorry. You definitely don't want to screw up your new bumper and suffocate the clear coat and have it peel on you. So the quick detail that I'm using does not have any wax in it. It does not have any silicone in it. Basically a soapy water. Damn, that's good. So the only concern I have is there's a little bit of something here that I'm catching with my nail. I don't know if it's residue from that tape, but I don't want to scrub too hard with a cheap microfiber and scratch it. So what I'm going to do is grab my mini buffer and just a little bit of polishing compound and see if I can get that off. I would not advise doing this, but again, I have a lot of experience with this, so I'm gonna just barely hit it with that, see if I can get that off of there. It's a very small spot, it's not noticeable, but I don't wanna show it to you guys and somebody point it out and be like, hey, what is that? I don't know how long ago it was since this was painted, so I have to be very careful here. And that just came right off. Grab another new microfiber and just wipe it down. Yep. So that was just a little bit of tape residue. I probably could have wiped it off, but if you have a freshly painted part and you apply a lot of pressure with a microfiber, you can actually scratch the finish. Now, I'm sure they baked this and they might have already wet sanded and buffed it and everything, but just throwing a little bit of caution to the wind. Check this thing out, guys. This thing looks brand new. The paint, at least from here, looks like a perfect match. I don't think I'm gonna have any issues with paint match on this. It honestly might match better than the OEM bumper, which would be great. If you guys have a OEM WRX and you haven't done any paint work to it, look at the front bumper and look at the rear bumper in the sunlight at different angles. You're gonna find that in some instances, the front and rear bumper don't even match from factory. So even if this thing is just ever so slightly off, there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly normal. They did a really, really good job on this thing. OEM finish for sure. So all I have to do now, and I don't see any dirt. I don't see any dirt nibs in this paint. So now I just have to swap out some stuff. I have to swap my grill into place. I have to swap out my fog light bezels. That should be it. Once I get this bumper off, I'm gonna show you guys all these freaking holes on the bottom of this bumper. That is really close. That's like stock bumper close. Just a hair off, but you're never gonna get it perfect. Never. Without painting the whole front end of the car at once, you're never gonna get it. All right, guys, now with all the new fingerprints all over it, the new bumper is finally installed. that's it. I mean, you can see on this side now, the bumper is not pulling away from the fender anymore. This looks so freaking much better. That's how the car should look. And now with this up in the light, you can see this a lot better. For anyone that was wondering and was like, oh, it's not that bad, it's not that noticeable. It really was. Okay guys, well the bumper is on, the install is done, everything went smoothly. I did trim that little bit as I showed you. I put the gloss black JDM style grill back in. I think it looks really good. So here it is out in the sunlight. I mean, this thing really does look OEM. The paint quality is perfect. The paint match is perfect. It really does look like I just got a brand new OEM bumper on it. I'm very happy with this. And as I said, as a guy who's painted for a career his whole life, this thing, I would be perfectly happy rocking this on my car. Somebody came to me and gave me their bumper and I painted it and it came out like this. You know, I wouldn't feel guilty one bit about charging them for the paint work. This thing looks incredible. Really great job, guys. Super, super great job. This thing is perfect. Not a speck of dirt in it. Really, really nice finish. So again, a really big thank you to the guys over at Painted OEM Parts. You absolutely killed it. Thank you so much. Again, they're going to offer you guys $25 off any 18 plus WRX bumper with the code Street Inspired. But anyways, I appreciate you guys checking out the video. You guys probably know how much this means to me, you know, getting to fix these things on my car that have been bugging me for so long and clean it up a little bit and get rid of some of the issues that I had with it. If you guys remember watching that video where I kind of walked around talking about all the things that I didn't like about the car, the bumper was one of the biggest issues that I had. So I'm so glad that that's fixed. But again, thanks for watching. Another big thank you to Painted OEM Parts. We'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you drop a comment. Let me know what you think.